everyone, I'm Captain Courageous and I review old school modules and games and try to give them a fun and informative analysis. This week I'm going back to 1982 to the Gamma World introductory module, Famine in Fargo. Meant to help a game master begin a new campaign in Gamma World, this 32-page adventure module brings together a group of young villagers and sets them on the path, or is that ode, to adulthood. Just a quick correction from my last video, I incorrectly said that Famine in Fargo was the first module published for 1E Gamma World, when in fact it was the second. Legion of Gold was published in 1981 and Famine in Fargo was published in 1982. The confusion comes in due to the fact that their TSR stock numbers are sequentially reversed, with Legion of Gold being 7503 and Famine in Fargo being 7502. Spoiler warning, I will be going far down the road of this classic old school adventure, so if you would like to play in it, you may wish to stop now and direct your game master to this video. Still with me? Okay, let's begin. Famine in Fargo was released for the Gamma World game in 1982 and written by Michael Price. The premise behind the adventure is that newly created characters, either pure strain human or mutated human characters, are young members of the farming community of Fargo and are now of age to go through the ritual ceremony, the Rite of Adulthood. The rite consists of a quest to travel to the Forest of Knowledge, and there, depending on whether or not they are pure strain humans or mutated humans, must eat the berries of truth that will enable them to experience certain revelations about themselves and possibly grant them additional abilities and get their adult name. There's a really fun chart that is GM and player interactive that helps work out what the character's childhood name is through random die roll and the player making up the name of their parents. In regards to the berries, the village elder doesn't exactly tell them what color berries to eat or that eating the incorrect berries will be detrimental. However, the description of Fargo and the prevalence of certain color schemes should clue the players in on what berries to eat when the time comes. In addition to the usual challenges posed by the Rite of Adulthood, the module throws in an additional complication. A meteor has crashed near the village, and the radiation of the thing is killing the village's crops, domesticated animals, and its people. Thus, the characters are instructed to also scout out potential places for the village to move to on their quest. Of course, as the adventure progresses, the characters discover that they may be able to save their village, and this is where the real gonzo, quirky aspects of Gamma World come into play. Along the way, the characters will have the potential for random encounters, of course, and the required random encounters tables are provided. But as is typical for Gamma World, also some really strange side adventures as well. There is a map provided to show the characters the path to the Forest of Knowledge along the ode, as shown here. The village elder, when giving his speech to the characters, tells them to be kind and lend aid to those they may meet on their journey. Wise and good advice any time, but then the module provides an encounter where if they do follow that advice, they will be rewarded with what amounts to a technology that equates to an amulet of invisibility by a dying old man they encounter along the ode. This will definitely come in handy later on in the adventure. Interestingly, the berry's mutation is suggested in the mutated plants section of the Gamma World rulebook, though the berries described in the module differ significantly as they are unique to all the world to the Forest of Knowledge. There are 4 berries, black, red, blue, and purple. Now, in the village description, the color purple is associated with members who are pure strain humans, and the color blue with mutated humans, though it never explains why this is. Hopefully, at this point, the players will figure out what berries they are supposed to eat. Eating the red or black berries has negative effects for both character types, as does eating the wrong berries for your character type. Mutated humans eating purple berries, for example. Regardless, after eating the berries, the party falls into a deep slumber and then wake up prisoners, bound with vines in total darkness and the warrens of some batters, stripped of their equipment and weapons. However, if the party acquired the amulet from the old man, then the character who had it would still be wearing it. Batters are essentially mutated badgers with a very humanoid-type body. They are highly intelligent with a mental strength of 16 and the empathy mutation. They wear armor, carry weapons, and have rather poor dispositions when it comes to other humanoids. And as veteran Gamma World players know, they are generally pretty bad news. Amusingly, this particular tribe of batters has discovered a poster of Bucky Badger, the animal mascot of the University of Wisconsin, though the module doesn't say that explicitly, merely describing it and providing this picture, and taken to worship the mascot as their supreme deity and protector. A comprehensive map and description of the Warrens follows, and if the characters manage to escape the Warrens, they find themselves in unfamiliar lands. Following a series of clues spurred on by their dreams induced by the berries, they discover an ancient chicken processing plant that is still in operation and inhabited by semi-intelligent, gun-toting, giant mutant one-eyed chickens, the Gallus 513. If the players manage this part of the adventure correctly, they will be able to secure themselves months' worth of chicken patties and save their village from starvation. But the adventure doesn't end there. They can travel to the crashed meteor site, fight a giant mutated tree, and end the plague of death that's threatening their village, returning as heroes and getting their adult names. The module's appendix does a great job of explaining how the naming ceremony works and working with the player to come up with a name they want, but also reflects upon the events of the adventure. The module doesn't exactly say what the crashed meteor is, or even why it causes such destruction and mutation, though perhaps the thing is actually a crashed satellite, which would more readily explain why the thing has the effects on the surroundings it does. In addition to including a bunch of new creatures, the appendix for the module also includes a rules expansion for pure strain humans. This new version has them adapting to the conditions of Gamma World as simply more rugged versions of humans. In game terms, this means rolling 4d6 when rolling for intelligence, charisma, and constitution, though only the intelligence and charisma scores can reach a maximum of 21. There is an expanded charisma table provided to account for the potentially over 18 scores. A roll higher than 18 for Constitution simply results in a Constitution of 18. Furthermore, pure strain humans now roll 8-sided dice when determining their hit points rather than the standard 6-sided dice for mutated humans and mutated animals. In addition to all of that, many items of the Ancients will only work for pure strain humans as before, but medkits are actually more effective when used on pure strain humans, which makes a lot of sense. Artwork for Famine and Fargo is by Jeff Easley, Tim Truman, Darlene, Larry Elmore, with outstanding cover art by the late Jim Holloway that alludes to his future work with the Paranoia RPG. Famine and Fargo can be purchased at auction relatively inexpensively, with auction prices for a quality original copy going for around $20. Drive-Thru RPG also has this one available for print on demand for only $10.50. Obviously a great buy. I have this one on order myself, but it hasn't come in the mail yet, so I'll definitely show it off in a future video once it arrives. So let's go ahead and take a look at Famine and Fargo on my D20 scale of style, presentation, and value. This module looks great. The art is by TSR's best, but the adventure itself delves a bit into railroad territory. There's even a road to follow to get to the destination of the Forest of Knowledge. Successful completion of the adventure is dependent on the characters following certain plot beats, taking the road provided to the Forest of Knowledge, eating the correct berries, resolving the conflict at the chicken processing plant, and so on. Further, the choice of player character is either pure strain human or mutated human, so players that might want to play mutated animals have no place in this adventure. That said, there are avenues of deviation, and certainly the Game Master can loosen things up a bit to allow for more player choice. As I've said in the past, the first adventure for a new campaign should be generally a straightforward affair that lays the foundation for future adventures. Players have just spent time in Session 0 creating characters. The module does a fantastic job of rooting the players to the game world, giving them parents, names connected to their deeds, an adventure that has them saving their village, and then an actual name that reflects on the adventure itself that will carry forward with the campaign. I'll go ahead and rate this a 15. The layout of the module is pretty straightforward and does a great job with organization. It's super easy to go back and find specific information due to the well done layout. The start of the module is a bit exposition heavy, but given that the nature of the characters' lives and what's going on with the rite of adulthood, as well as the crashed meteor, an exposition dump is probably going to be hard to avoid. The new rules for pure strain humans bring them in line with the power level of mutants, and that pretty much makes this module a must-have if you're running this edition of Gamma World. There's also a ton of new monsters, a chance to interact with one of the cryptic alliances mentioned in the rulebook, and overall this does a ton of world building for the GM. That said, this is Gamma World at its most gonzo, with the main enemy being one-eyed, gun-wielding mutant chickens. You'll either get a kick out of that or hate it. I doubt there's an in-between point on this. As for me, I love it, and I'll rate this a 17. As far as value, this module is actually pretty reasonable on eBay and even more reasonable as a print-on-demand buy at DriveThruRPG. $10.50 for both PDF and print is pretty darn good. I'll rate this one a 19. That brings my overall rating for Gamma World First Edition module, Famine in Fargo, to a 17. Very good. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you found this review informative and useful. Next week, I'll finish up this Gamma World retrospective with a look at the classic module, Legion of Gold. As usual, I'd like to give a big shout out and thank you to my Patreons. If you enjoyed this review, please subscribe and click the little bell so you'll get updates when I add new content. Please give this video a like, comment, and share. Join the channel's Facebook page, RPG Reviews, and consider supporting the channel by becoming a patron yourself. Or alternatively, you can just send a tip through the PayPal tip jar, link in the description. As always, my friends, may your D20 roll true, and game on.